of the problems that most concern the Brazilian society nowadays. In Rio de Janeiro, 3.7 million people live in areas dominated by organized crime. Young people account for a quarter of the country's population and are among the biggest victims of homicide, which are their main cause of death.
Geralmente tem conflitos, as pessoas têm medo da violência no cotidiano, dia a dia. Você sai para trabalhar, não sabe nem se volta para casa.
In areas where poverty and inequality are prominent, sport can become an alternative for the inclusion of children and young people. Since 2000, the Jadir Taekwondo Association has been assisting disadvantaged children and youth living in vulnerable communities in Rio de Janeiro. Our mission is to welcome, educate, and develop skills in children and youth so that they can overcome adversities through the power of sport.
A filosofia do Taekwondo, ela traz assim na sua base orientações muito importantes para o desenvolvimento das crianças, para a relação entre eles, na comunidade, na vida. Então eu acho que tem uma conotação aí muito importante de fortalecimento da própria personalidade, do ser como indivíduo.
Eu pratico Taekwondo há 3 anos. Eu adoro as técnicas de chute e os que a luta. Eu quero chegar muito longe com o Taekwondo. Eu quero lutar com as pessoas de fora, participar das Olimpíadas, de muitas coisas, na faixa preta. Porque eu adoro Taekwondo e isso é muito bom pra mim.
Eu já pratico Taekwondo há cerca de 3 anos e o que eu mais gosto no Taekwondo são Kyorigi e o Sebon Kyorigi. Eu tenho sonho de lutar pela seleção brasileira, chegar à faixa preta no Taekwondo.
Eles ficaram mais focados. Meu filho tinha problema de alergia, houve uma melhora muito grande, houve uma melhora na escola, na atenção deles. Eles ficaram mais preocupados com a natureza, essas coisas assim. Eles treinam em casa, às vezes a brincadeira deles em relação ao Taekwondo. A minha filha fala dos chutes dela, meu filho gosta muito. Eles pensam em continuar, não pensam em parar.
We offer free Taekwondo classes and engaging activities for children and youth from deprived areas where social issues, such as poverty and drug abuse, are prominent to empower them to thrive in life. Our 5 key areas of action: social inclusion, peace building, health and well-being, gender equality, and environmental education are aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Through our initiatives, we help to transform the lives of many individuals, not only by enabling them to access sports, but also encouraging them to overcome barriers and to respect differences. Recognized by the United Nations as a vector of development and an instrument for peace, sport is the activity we've been promoting since our foundation. Through it, we promote a culture of tolerance and peace, the prevention of violence, and the peaceful resolution of conflicts.
Hello everyone, welcome to the event. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I'm Inês Crespo. I'm Communications Manager at the Scotland Centre of Expertise on Climate Change, called Climate Exchange, and also lead the marketing team at AJTKD. So AJTKD is the Jadir Taekwondo Association with more than 20 years of experience working with children and youth from underprivileged areas in Rio de Janeiro. And our event is also in collaboration with Sports for Future, where athletes, sports clubs and associations, funds and sponsors are united to overcome the climate crisis together. Sports for Future is dedicated to launching its own initiatives, supporting projects, increasing knowledge, and strengthening sustainability, climate protection, and democracy. So today we'll have a few presentations. And the aim of the event today is to explore the potential of sport in addressing social inequality and advancing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So we'll hear about real-life case studies. You already watched the video, so it gives you a little bit of a glimpse of some of the things we're going to be speaking about. And so the studies are on the intersection of sports, climate action, and sustainable development, with a specific focus on Rio de Janeiro's deprived communities. So there will be a total of 4 presentations and a video. Well, another video other than this one you just watched. And there will be also some questions for you, because I'd like to understand why you're here today, what you're taking from the event, and your opinion about the different topics we're discussing, and also experience. You'll be able to ask questions by using the chat, the Q&A function. So you can see in the Google window on the top bottom corner, there is a little icon with a triangle, a square, and a circle. And if you click there, you can access the Q&A. And so we will start before the first presentation. We have a question for you, and I'll ask Danilo to share the link to Mentimeter in the chat, but I will also share my window so you know how to access it. So the first question, if you go to menti.com and use this code 43568592, or just click on Danilo, the link Danilo posted in the chat, we'd like to know, how have sports had a positive impact in your life? We're obviously not asking if they have had or not, so we assume they do, because sports are a very positive activity. So we already have a few responses. Resilience, health, socializing, absolutely, they're all very important. Discipline, motor coordination, health and well-being, obviously very important, and the reason many people practice sports. I'll just give you a few more seconds. Focus, integrity, team play, very important. Thank you so much for your input. It's good to see that sport has had an impact in the lives of so many of you. Vitality, definitely, what makes you feel alive. Sometimes through some muscle pain, but mostly in a positive way. Thank you so much for your input. Actually, the first presentation, it's an honor to introduce Master Jadir Figueira, who is the founder of AJTKD. Master Jadir will showcase how sports can serve as a powerful means to foster social inclusion in disadvantaged communities in Rio de Janeiro. And if you give me, so this is a recorded presentation, so I'll just ask for a second. To share it with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I would like to express my gratitude for the presence of everyone here today. It is an honor for me to open the UN side event GameChangers, Sports for Social Inclusion in Rio Communities. Our goal is to explore the transformative potential of sports in the fight against social inequality and in advancing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. I want to extend my thanks to the President of the 62nd session of the UN Commission for Social Development, Her Excellency Ruchira Kamboj, and to our esteemed speakers, Mr. Danilo Malafaya, Mr. Stefan Wagner, Mrs. Robin Heitzman, and our moderator Inês Crespo. I would also like to acknowledge the valuable work of our volunteers, whose dedication significantly contributes to the success of this event. My name is Jadir Fialio Figuera, and I am the president and founder of the Jadir Taekwondo Association. I was born and raised in Madureira, in the north of Rio de Janeiro. My journey into the world of sports began in the 70s, thanks to a social project that offered free Taekwondo classes for children and youth in underserved communities. After years of dedication, I achieved the black belt, and in 1986, I established a program that allowed children and youth from various underserved communities to practice Taekwondo for free. This program, which lasted 14 years, not only promoted inclusion through sports but also revealed numerous talents. In 2000, I founded the Jadir Taekwondo Association, dedicated to social inclusion projects through sports, implementing activity hubs in communities. Over 24 years of activity, we have assisted more than 7,500 children and youth, making a positive impact on their lives. As the technical coordinator of Brazilian Taekwondo from 2011 to 2015, I was able to develop several impactful projects that transformed the reality of Taekwondo in Brazil. However, if it weren't for a social project in my childhood that allowed me to get to know and practice the sport, none of this would have been possible. My journey exemplifies how sports, especially through social projects, can transform lives and promote social inclusion. Today, we are gathered here to celebrate and discuss this transformative power. Sports projects play a crucial role in communities, offering a range of benefits where access to resources and opportunities is limited. These projects become a vital means to promote social inclusion, personal development, and an improvement in the quality of life. For young people facing greater social vulnerability and residents of peripheral communities, sports emerge as true agents of change, promoting social inclusion, transforming future perspectives, and opening doors to new dreams. Thus, it is essential to recognize the importance of these projects and the need for continuous support and investment in sports infrastructure in underserved communities. Furthermore, it is important to highlight that through these projects, many talents are discovered in communities. They embark on a path of overcoming challenges and, eventually, represent Brazil in international competitions and the Olympics, earning medals that inspire an entire generation. For the past 24 years, the Jadir Taekwondo Association has been making a positive impact on the lives of children and youth through its activity hubs in the communities of Rio de Janeiro. This initiative not only provides access to sports, but also serves as a transformative agent in various areas of the participants' lives. The implementation of this work in underserved communities represents a significant opportunity for change and development for the children and young people living in these areas. The practice of Taekwondo goes beyond physical development. It also promotes important social and emotional skills such as discipline, respect, teamwork, and self-confidence. These competencies play a fundamental role in personal growth and success in everyday life. Our hubs offer an environment conducive to the cultivation of these skills, providing not only sports training but also a solid foundation for character development. On behalf of the Jadir Taekwondo Association, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to everyone present for sharing this moment with us. We appreciate your support and for recognizing the importance of our work in underserved communities. Every act of solidarity and collaboration strengthens our mission of transforming lives through sports. We extend special thanks to our partners, volunteers, and sponsors whose commitment and generosity make it possible for our programs to be successful. Lastly, I want to express my gratitude to the communities that welcome and support us in our daily work. It is for you that we dedicate our effort and passion, and it is for you that we will continue to strive to build a better future. Thank you very much.
I'm sure you'll all join me in a virtual clap to Master Jadir for his presentation. So our next speaker is Robin Heitzman. Robin is an expert in Latin American studies, and she presented socioeconomic and infrastructural challenges prevalent in Rio's favelas. So this means their impact on the community, how sports initiatives can address and mitigate some of these issues. And I will give the floor to Robin.
Thank you, Ines, for the very kind introduction, and thank you everyone for joining us today. So in this presentation today, I'd just like to build a bit upon what some of the testimonials are going to be saying about some of the challenges that residents face in these areas, and to really kind of illustrate the power of sport to transform communities. And I'm going to be looking at Brazil and Rio de Janeiro in particular. So, as the speakers have mentioned, residents in Rio de Janeiro face numerous challenges. So, starting with the issue of criminality, over the last 30 years, we've seen that gangs have had a strong presence in Rio de Janeiro. And while not all crime in Rio is directly related to gangs, there's still ample evidence to suggest a link between the two. So, for example, drug trafficking, of which gangs are heavily involved in, has been linked to between about 25 and 52% of all homicides in the city. There's also been cases where conflicts between gangs and police have caused many deaths, including the deaths of those who don't have any link to criminal activity. And I would argue that because of these factors, it's incredibly important to ensure that at-risk youth are deterred from criminal activity. And this is going to help to prevent crime sustainably. If gangs are repeatedly able to recruit new members, a cycle of crime and violence will ultimately be perpetuated. In certain areas of Rio, the issues that will be outlined by some of the accounts from today are particularly acute. So, for example, in marginalized communities in Rio, homicide rates can be up to 8 times higher than in other areas, as gangs can use these areas sometimes as bases to operate from when they're engaging in criminal activity, which puts nearby residents in increased danger. And in a society where poverty and crime are tangible threats and formal employment can sometimes be difficult to access, gangs can offer a form of employment in the face of a lack of opportunities. And from AJTKD's work on the ground, the team has witnessed firsthand the consequences of what happens when these challenges are not addressed. From the team's perspective, opportunities for crime inequality thrive, and residents of deprived communities then face extreme challenges in their daily lives. So, moving on then to the role of sport and how it can transform societies. As the testimonials will exemplify, sport has the capacity to transform communities. Where there's a chance to engage in sport, there is also an opportunity to promote social cohesion, improve well-being, and develop communities. In fact, the power of sport has also been highlighted by the UNODC, who see sport as offering an ideal area within which life skills can be built. They recognize that the development achieved through sport is essential for providing youth with an opportunity to escape from crime, violence, and drugs, which can be endemic in some communities. In practice, we see that sport provides an opportunity for strong bonds to build with others. When individuals are competing against each other, they are taught to demonstrate respect towards each other. These values can then be applied to life outside of sports and are a step towards addressing the issues which will be discussed during today's event. Sport can also provide opportunities not just to develop personally, but also professionally. Successful athletes could have fruitful careers related to the sport that they practice. In areas where crime is present, sport can offer another avenue away from violence and drugs. Athletes can also serve as role models for others in the community and inspire younger members. And this is a trend that can continue indefinitely. So the effects of sport promote positive change, which can last for generations. Role models can become leaders within their local communities, promoting peace and sharing the values learned through sport with others. And as the United Nations recognizes, elite sport can be an extremely powerful mass communication platform that can be used to promote a culture of peace. These values can help develop life skills to overcome adversity, which is essential in places marked by high levels of crime and violence. Sports clubs can also provide a close-knit community centered around the values of personal growth and physical and mental well-being. High-profile athletes generate substantial media attention, which can be harnessed to raise awareness of social issues such as drugs and violence. And internationally, successful athletes can create dialogues on certain topics, such as reducing inequality. In Rio, where the issue of gangs is particularly pertinent, Initiatives centered around sports prevent crime and violence by offering an alternative. Not only do clubs offer a haven from gangs, but the skills and values taught through activities have the capacity to inspire and shape society for generations. So to finish, I would really like to reiterate the power that sport has to transform communities. As we will see in marginalized communities, like the ones we'll see in Rio de Janeiro, there are significant challenges for residents in a variety of areas. And as the testimonials will exemplify, sport can drive development in areas such as education, discipline, and dedication. These skills can be applied to the challenges of daily life to overcome obstacles specific to disadvantaged communities, to help address social inequality and advance the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Big applause. So just to remind the audience, you can ask questions in the Q&A, through the Q&A. Okay, Danilo, I thought you were going to ask a question, so it's clapping. And Robin, I actually have a question for you, and I don't know if this is something you know, if in your research you came across any other organizations doing this type of work like AJTKD does, in terms of using sports in areas where there's lots of gang presence?
So off the top of my head, I'm not specifically sure in Brazil. I know, for example, that it's an area that, for example, in the UK, that they're looking into more, and I think it's definitely a fantastic opportunity, and I think that there is a lot more that could be done as well.
Absolutely. And how does poverty contribute to the difficulties people encounter in these areas?
So I would say that in a situation where there's poverty, it can exacerbate any kind of pre-existing issues that people have. So for example, if people have medical needs, but for some reason they're not able to kind of attend appointments or seek medical treatment because of poverty, it can exacerbate all of the issues that are going on, and things can spiral. They can kind of have negative impacts in other areas of people's life, and poverty is a situation that affects each element of a person's life, their home life, their relationships with other people, their health.
Thank you. I don't know if you saw while you were speaking, there are lots of thumbs up and applauses from the audience. So we don't have more questions from the audience. So thank you again, Robin. It seems like everyone has enjoyed your presentation. So next I will share a video, which is a short documentary featuring youth and sports people from Rio's community who have benefited from sports. So we'll have an idea of that. Just a second.
Eu moro perto de Turiaçu, uma comunidade. A criminalidade aqui não é muito grande, mas também não é das menores.
Bandidos, muitos bandidos andando por aí.
Não tem tiroteio, já é um ponto muito bom você sair de casa sem ter risco de tomar uma bala perdida assim, do nada por uma trocação entre facções.
Eu estava atravessando uma passarela, dois homens vieram, eu estava junto com minha mãe, eles pediram para passar celular, dinheiro.
Existe, em geral, tanto no Rio de Janeiro, mas também em Madureira, um certo nível de criminalidade, onde você não se sente seguro em certos horários, em certos locais.
Criminalidade tem em qualquer lugar, em várias partes do mundo. Mas eu vejo aqui pelo bairro de Madureira, Turiaçu, você tem que se precaver um pouco mais, ficar atento a guardar celular, bolsa, dinheiro, porque normalmente tem assalto. Eu já fui assaltado ao sair de casa, 4h30 da manhã, indo para o trabalho.
Agora completa 8 anos que eu estou no Taekwondo e eu fico muito feliz porque o Taekwondo me dá muita coragem, é uma forma de se defender muito
boa. O taekwondo deixa uma coordenação motora melhor, o teu raciocínio fica mais rápido, o teu pensamento fica melhor.
Educação, disciplina, empenho, raciocínio lógico, veio depois da vida deles no Taekwondo. Os três eles são praticantes assíduos, eles têm cada dia mais vontade de crescer e aprender, vendo os mestres e também se dedicando. Eu só tenho eu como pai, tenho mais a agradecer ao Taekwondo, porque através do Taekwondo muitas coisas na vida deles também mudaram. Questão de escola, ter disciplina em questão de estudar.
Eu sinto benefícios físicos e mentais em relação ao treino. Isso daí pode impactar também se eu for estudar uma faculdade, qualquer coisa assim que possa me levantar profissionalmente.
Meu nome é Gabriel Ribeiro, sou proprietário da Academia Delfim há 16 anos. Eu vim da comunidade de Cantagalo, sou do asfalto. O esporte, para mim, é a divisão de água. Porque eu vejo hoje que a comunidade quebrou. A rua é uma sociedade e a comunidade é outra sociedade. Então por isso que eu, como eu vim numa condição melhor, eu vou dar essa inserção social a essas pessoas da comunidade. Eu consegui emplacar um projeto dentro dos presídios. E, consequentemente, eu trouxe isso para dentro da minha academia também. Quando os caras vêm para cá, eles começam a treinar o boxe. Na época lá atrás, quando acontecia no presídio, então já vinha já com um entendimento melhor. Então ele continuava a treinar e aí virava professor de boxe e depois dava aula na academia. Então eu fazia o caminho todo para ele conseguir ter um dinheiro para ele não voltar para o crime. Eu consegui inserir na sociedade de novo, dando aula com o dinheiro dele e não precisar entrar no crime de novo.
A arte marcial, eu posso dizer que foi um norte na minha vida, desde pequeno, e que salvou a minha vida, por eu ter uma estrutura familiar muito complicada. Não tive acompanhamento de mãe e de pai. Eu fiquei 10 anos encarcerado. E foi onde o Gabriel Ribeiro me alcançou. Eu cheguei em 2010, eu cheguei aqui na academia Delfim, na Tijuca. E comecei minha vida na arte marcial. E aí mudou minha vida. Nunca mais eu passei por nenhuma dificuldade que me fizesse pensar a fazer coisa errada para me obter uma comida. A arte marcial aqui na Delfim me deu uma família, me deu um pai, me deu um irmão, me deu uma família que eu costumo dizer que é a Sagrada Família. E hoje eu faço replicar. É muito importante que tenha projetos sociais nas comunidades. O único jovem que for atingido, impactado pelo esporte, ele tem condições de mudar a perspectiva da vida da família inteira dele. Hoje faço um projeto social no Morro do Borel, onde já atendemos até 63 crianças. Temos campeão no MMA, vindo do projeto, temos campeão no boxe. Isso tudo porque eu tive a oportunidade que a arte marcial me deu de mudar o percurso da minha vida e ser positivo para a sociedade, porque eles me viam como uma coisa negativa. E a arte marcial me deu essa visão, esse leque de opções positivas. E hoje eu exerço essa função, eu levo o alimento para minha casa da arte marcial, não me vejo mais fora da arte marcial e pretendo ir até o último dia da minha vida exercendo da forma que eu puder e difundindo e levando o respeito, a disciplina e a humildade da arte marcial pro próximo.
Some fantastic examples of what we're discussing here today. Lots of applauses for who put the video together and also for the testimonials. Thank you, everyone. So now it's time for another question for you, the audience. And I'm going to share my screen. So the question also is the same link as before with the same quote, and it is, what are the biggest challenges faced by youth? We've obviously, saw a few ones already today and heard a few ones today, but you'll have your own experiences and knowledge about this. Lack of opportunities, absolutely. Social inequalities, I think some of these are mentioned by Robin in her presentation and also by Master Jadir. Inequality, crime, obviously very big one. So there are some good ideas of what those can be. I will just say something in Portuguese for the audience from Brazil. Boa tarde, eu também falo português, por isso se alguém, por exemplo, quiser escrever em português ou fazer perguntas no chat em português, eu também posso traduzir se for preciso. So I'm now going to stop sharing this screen and we'll move on. And our next presentation is from Danilo Malafaia. So Danilo is Administrative Director at AJTKD, and he's going to tell us a bit more about AJTKD. He will explore the transformative power of sports in fostering youth empowerment. And I'm going to share the video if you just give me a second.
It's a pleasure to be here today addressing you, members and volunteers of the Jadir Taekwondo Association, civil society groups, partner organizations, and members of the UN. Thank you for coming. My name is Danilo Malafaia. I work as Administrative Director at Jadir Taekwondo Association, and I'm also a Taekwondo black belt and instructor with over 10 years of experience teaching children and young people from the communities of Rio de Janeiro through the association. I have witnessed up close just how powerful sports can be when used as a tool to promote social inclusion and assist children and youth in underserved areas of Brazil. We know that sports have a tremendous potential in many ways. The way it reaches communities throughout the world is unlike anything. It transcends age, gender, or ethnicity. Sport is a universal language, and if used correctly, it can be an important tool in achieving the SDGs. In the 2030 Agenda, its role is emphasized even further as the UN acknowledges its growing contribution to development and peace, promoting tolerance and respect, and its contributions to health, education, social inclusion, and to the empowerment of women, youth, individuals, and communities. Children and young people benefit tremendously from physical activity. Combined with the school curriculum, sports are necessary for comprehensive education. By participating in physical and sports activities, students are exposed to the core values of sports, including teamwork, discipline, tolerance, respect for others, and cooperation. These skills are essential for future participation in group activities and professional life, fostering social unity in communities. Given the benefits of personal and social development that sports can offer, increasing access and participation is a primary development goal. For this reason, AJTKD has been operating its sports development programs since 2000 with the aim of helping and empowering children and youth in underserved areas of Rio de Janeiro to use Taekwondo as a tool for progress. When it comes to empowering youth, martial arts can make a significant contribution if done correctly. They often come with a rich cultural background and elements of philosophy, discipline, and respect. The practice of martial arts is offered as an energy-intensive activity and as a way to release tension. Additional benefits, such as increased patience and tolerance, associated with both physical improvement and self-confidence, can help children facing bullying, abuse, or even violence. This self-confidence can help young people build positive responses, especially for women, girls, and vulnerable groups. Because of their unique characteristics and how they promote fundamental values such as peace, respect, and discipline, martial arts can offer an important vehicle to achieve positive development outcomes for young people, including techniques for dealing with aggression, developing personal intercultural skills, instilling positive values, and also developing soft skills such as leadership, self-awareness, and teamwork. In the heart of Rio's communities, where challenges may seem insurmountable, social projects that use martial arts can act as a beacon of hope, attracting young people and offering strong role models. In these programs, children have the opportunity to connect with other children, expose themselves to positive role models, and improve their lives through educational activities and community building. The association's approach encompasses a natural process in empowering young people and fostering youth leadership, giving them new responsibilities as they progress in Taekwondo. These responsibilities are designed to help them develop and improve several personal skills that are beneficial not only within the martial arts context, but also in their personal and social lives. A backbone of Taekwondo is its meticulously structured hierarchy system, symbolized by the progression through different colored belts. This system serves as a detailed roadmap for personal development and empowerment. Progressing through the ranks instills not only technical proficiency, but also a profound sense of achievement. The pinnacle of this journey, achieving the black belt, signifies mastery and opens doors for these young individuals to become certified instructors. This not only enables them to share their skills, but also provides a tangible source of income, contributing to their economic empowerment and fostering a sustainable cycle of progress. In Taekwondo, all students start at the same level as white belts, and as such, they must learn from and respect those at a higher level. As they improve their skills, they can take the belt promotion test and reach a higher level, slowly working on their leadership skills. These tests usually require students to perform specific Taekwondo techniques. However, in our methodology, which was recently highlighted as a case study in the Panorama platform, we take a different approach that goes beyond traditions. In Rio de Janeiro's favelas, where children and youth are particularly vulnerable to the heightened impacts of climate change, we infuse environmental action into the heart of our belt tests. This means that alongside demonstrating their Taekwondo skills, students must also actively contribute to their communities through progressively challenging environmental tasks. Instead of just mastering kicks and punches, our belt tests involve activities like tree planting, recycling, community cleanups, and educational workshops. This approach bridges the gap between physical training and social responsibility, allowing students to develop leadership skills not only through Taekwondo, but also by taking initiative and collaborating on projects that improve their environment. By integrating environmental action into belt tests, we go beyond traditional martial arts training. We foster a sense of community, responsibility, and leadership among our students, empowering them to make a real difference in the world. It's a unique twist on Taekwondo that is sure to leave a lasting impact on our students, our communities, and the environment. To conclude my presentation, I would like to say that with over 2 decades of uninterrupted work, reaching over 7,000 children and young people through our initiatives, and consistently creating new leaders, we can say that this cycle of positive impact has proven to be tremendously beneficial for the communities we work with, and we are very proud of these results. I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to my presentation today. It was an honor for me. My deepest gratitude to AJTKD and Master Jadir for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all for joining me today, and I wish you a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Danilo. I think everyone will join me in a round of applause. I see all the thumbs up. Thanks so much. So just a reminder, you can use the Q&A through the icons on the bottom right of the screen to ask questions. While no one has questions, I'll take my powers as chair and ask a couple, if that is okay. Oh, we're seeing lots of clapping. So it's a really good example of how important this work is. So Danilo, have you seen in your work, obviously at the AJTKD, have you seen any changes in the behavior or how in the behavior of the children or how they perform at school, for instance, throughout the program?
Yes, certainly. One of the most common things that we hear from the students' parents is that they have improved their behavior at home and with others. The discipline that is present in Taekwondo most likely reflects in their personal lives. And it's very common for their families to tell us how they improved in this sense. As for academic performance, the impact is equally significant. Whenever a new student gets enrolled in our programs, one of the first things we request is their school report with all their grades. So we know where they're at when they join us. And then after some time, we request a new report to see how their grades changed and if they need any educational support. We are always encouraging them to get good grades. We know that education is the game changer to fight poverty. When we started this work, that was 2 decades ago, in a short span of time, we saw a great boost in our students' school performance. So we knew that we were going the right way with our approach using Taekwondo plus our educational support program. It has given good results over the years. And one of the reasons why our students become increasingly interested in getting good grades and going to university is not only because we encourage them to do so, but also because we have athletes and instructors who are also excelling in their academic lives, and they are the role models. So it gives our children the perspective that they can also go through the same path and be successful.
Thank you, Danilo. So it's obviously very impactful. There's a question from the audience from Tian Hui. How have the activities after the pandemic been, and were there any changes or new obstacles?
Yeah, well, the pandemic presented a very big challenge for us, especially throughout the pandemic, the 2 years that we had worked during the pandemic. We had to adapt our activities as a way to, sort of continue supporting the children, supporting the students and their families. After the pandemic, we are still, we have our own challenges as a small NGO in Brazil. We have our own challenges, especially in terms of expanding the work. We can only do so much with our current resources. But of course, there are obviously challenges every single year, every single moment we get back to work. And it's no different. During the pandemic, it was very complex, but we managed to get through it successfully. Our approach was even highlighted in the UN report from the Secretary General of the United Nations. So we are very proud of it. But of course, there are new challenges popping up every now and then.
Thank you, Danilo. There are no other questions in the chat, but I'd like to ask you before we move on, the same question we asked the audience. What are the biggest challenges faced by youth in the Rio communities?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint a single challenge, but if I had to highlight one, it would be the socioeconomic disparities. So the limited resources, the rough living conditions, poverty, they often lead to a lack of motivation to pursue education among these young people. Depending on the community, safety and crime can also become a big issue, as highlighted in Robin's presentation. There are several criminal gangs ruling over some of these areas, and this intensifies the daily challenges faced by young people living in them. This just emphasizes the contrast in challenges faced by these young people compared to their counterparts from more privileged backgrounds.
Absolutely. Thank you, Danilo. So another round of applause for your presentation and answers. So now, last but not least, I'm going to introduce, well, actually, before I introduce Stefan Wagner, I will ask that we have another question for the audience. And that relates a little bit with what you're going to listen to after in the presentation. So let me just share that. So the last question, and again, is the same link and same quote. In your opinion, and this time you can select options. In your opinion, how can sports empower youth? Can it be through environmental education, mentorship programs, discipline training, or other ways? I have to admit that I'm not sure you can select more than one, but I'm hoping you can. So mentorship seems to be a big one among the audience. So I'll just move on while people still answer the poll. So now, yes, I'm going to introduce Stefan Wagner. Stefan is the founder of Sports for Future, and he's going to explore the role of sports in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and also tell us more about Sports for Future and Sports 20. Stefan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Ines, and thanks for the invitation, Jadir and Danilo. Really honored to be here, and thanks for having me and giving me the chance to introduce Sports for Future and Sports 20, two initiatives which are closely related, and I now try to share my screen. So I'm happy now to introduce Sports for Future, and I go through it briefly. Sports for Future was founded in 2019 as the For Future movement started, basically through young people to address climate protection on a much broader grassroots way. And we were thinking that sports has to play a role in this fight to save our climate. And so we are now, we were collecting many supporters, starting with a couple of Bundesliga teams, the German Sports Youth Association. We now have this German Football Association, different Bundesliga teams, national teams like hockey, rowing, badminton, media, also amateur clubs. So overall, it's more than 500 supporters from over 80 sports disciplines, representing more than 25 million athletes. And so I think it's a major voice in our society to address the climate crisis, because sport has both roles. It's part of the problem because we are still not very sustainable, and it can be part of the solution. And we are trying to address both of it. And so I give you a short introduction in what we do. Basically, we are creating, we're trying to bring sustainability in sports, for example, through a workbook, through a carbon footprint calculator, which is free for use for every sports organization, and much more guiding to implement sustainability in sports. And we also do workshops with different sports organizations and within our network of these 500 plus subscribers. We do networking events. We going on the streets to demonstrate with all the other activists to address the climate crisis. We have those meetings to work on solutions together and to communicate together. And we're doing collaborations and campaigns. Most of it within Germany, like with the German Football Association. The first round in our national cup in football was a donation, and it was a climate action game day with a donation of close to 50,000 euros to Sports for Future to support our projects. And as you see here in the bottom right, we have also international cooperations with the Association Jadir Taekwondo, which we are very proud to have such cooperations in Brazil and elsewhere too at the moment. And we are doing campaigns trying to do different fundings like charity runs and other mechanics to deliver low threshold options to tackle climate crisis through different projects. One of our main campaigns is Sports for Trees, where we have we could support different projects in Africa. For example, in Kenya, a reforestation project where we could contribute already more than 50,000 trees close to the Mara Serengeti, this worldwide well-known national park in Kenya and Tanzania. And then we have a forest protection program in Tanzania with close to 7,000 hectares land, which we could protect for the indigenous people communities who are living there, and obviously to protect the forest itself. We did reforestation in Uganda too, in a small-scale farmers project to rebuild forests in Uganda. And we have a school project which we call Green Schools Project, which we are running in Senegal and in Nigeria, which has different parts within this project. First, it's climate protection through so-called school gardens with an average of 600 fruit trees on the school ground, and solar energy, which we are placing on the school buildings. We are delivering educational aspects to combine sports and environmental trainings, and we are delivering also sports material to strengthen social interaction of students and use it as well, and engage them in these tree planting projects as well. So, and there are some more. I'm going through it more briefly. In DRC, we have empowerment of women program and reforestation. We have a tree planting program with the German hockey national team in South Africa. And we have contributed more than 100,000 mangroves in the Malizia Mangroves Park on the Philippines. The Malizia is a German sailing team. And so altogether, we have a couple of things we could already reach through our community. More than 100,000 trees planted, and you see all the other aspects in our projects. You can find that on the website sportsforfuture.de. We have an English site too. So if you want to subscribe, you're very, very welcome. And now I switch to the second project, which has a much broader approach and is an international network based on a new framework for sports with a different goal. I hope I can show a short promo video too. It's less than a minute. I hope you can hear it.
Stefan, we cannot hear it, but it's playing, so we can see the video. I can't hear you.
You cannot see it?
We can see it, but we don't hear the sound.
Okay. Yeah, nevertheless, I skip it. It's not that important. You can find it on our website, sports20.org. But the question is more or less the same. The question is, what do we have to do to keep our planet livable and just for everyone living on this planet? All you know, it's time to act. We have reached the 1.5 degrees threshold the last year for the first time in the whole year average, which was announced yesterday, as far as I know. And we see that we do not have only a climate problem, we have ecological problem, and which causes also many social issues. So we have, as you all know, the SDGs, and we have a decade of action. But what we see in the markets, and we see it especially in Germany, that we don't address every 17 SDGs at the same time. Usually we try to pick those who are more or less related to our core business and which seem to be easy to contribute to, which is already not what the SDGs are meant to be. And what we see also is kind of SDG washing. So we are not really transforming the whole business models. We are contributing somehow to an SDG, and for example, donating money to, don't know, a program tackling poverty, and we think we are tackling poverty and the SDG too, but which is not the case. And so we see that we have lack of inaction, and that the level of ambition is far away from being high enough. And so we were asking ourselves, what can sport contribute to change the view, that we make clear where we have to go to, and that doing mouse steps is not enough. And so we have tried to look at the change we need from the end. How does the sports world look like when we have fulfilled every 17 SDGs? And as you all know, these 17 SDGs are made for a nation-based, and with the 169 targets, they are not really good to manage for a sports organization. So what we did is to translate the SDGs in the perspective of the sports organization. It took us more than about 1.5 years to do that. But the result is a much more complex list, as you can imagine, that this one here. But I hope I can just make it visible what we did, that we went through the areas of action of a sports organization, like responsible management and leadership, like sustainability in the context regarding the local environment and the surroundings of the sports organization, responsible treatment of people, supply chain, resource use, and minimizing the negative effects of our operations. And we regard also the footprint and the handprint. And when you go through this list, it makes it manageable and measurable for each and every sports organization. And if you have done that, we will have a transformed world of sports. And if the world of sports is transformed, the rest of the world can do it as well. And this is still very technical and very, not very easy to get if you're not familiar with it. So we try to translate it into future pictures of the world of sport, where we can make the change visible. So taking this one here, it's not the final picture we will have at the end of the day, but it makes it visible what we're trying to do. If you see the stadium here, you can click through it at the end of the day to see how did the people come to this event, how have the changes been in mobility, in the supply chain, what do they eat, what do they wear, how do they make sure that the people in the supply chain are paid in a fair manner and treated in a fair manner, and all that stuff. So we are using the sport to make transformation adorable and nice and seem to be a better world, so that hopefully the people are open to join this movement. We were able to present this whole framework and the network at the COP28 in Dubai last year in November, and at the German pavilion with a German climate activist, Luisa Neubauer, and with a very well-known man, Eckart von Hirschhausen, and the captain of the German hockey national team, and in a second spot at the WWF Panda Hub, and where we presented the global network which stands behind the Sports 20 framework and the idea too. And you see here two well-known faces, Jadir and Danilo, but we have also partners from USA, Canada, Kenya, Japan, Australia, and UK. And because we are sure that we need to share all the perspectives from all over the world, because only the German or European or the perspective of the global North is not enough. We have to bring in all the perspectives, and which is important, we do not only address the sports, we also address what is needed that the sports can be sustainable. So this is a political approach too, and we try to deliver those notes and what is necessary to reach these changes at G20, at COP, and other platforms all around the world through this network, and trying to make sports the driver for transformation, because we believe strongly that another world is possible.
Thank you so much. Let's put our hands together for Stefan. It was definitely worth the wait. It was an extremely important job, work, and so interesting. Got lots of clapping hands going up the screen. So again, I'd like to remind the audience that you can ask questions via the Q&A, and while no one asks questions, I will do so myself. So Stefan, how does Sports 20 see the world of sport contributing to positive societal change? So you obviously mentioned it quite a lot in your presentation, but if you could wrap that up for us, please.
Yeah, we believe that why does transformation do not happen? I think it does not happen because many people are scared of a future and transformed world, because they fear that they will lose welfare somehow, or they will lose control, or they lose power. And we try to create another picture of the future which is transformed, a better one, which the people like to share and like to be part on. So we like to show that we are the better way, that it's worth joining this party of a better world.
Thank you. Someone, Rodrigo, wrote very special work. I have another question, Stefan. What are the future goals and aspirations of Sports 20? So what's coming up?
Yeah, we are working at the moment on a couple of different pillars. First of all, we will deliver a manageable handout for each and every sports organization to activate and to work on this framework. We are doing this for many different types of organizations, such as associations, clubs, events, and athletes. And so what does the organization have to do to go into the direction of a transformed sports? This is the first one. The second one is that we are working together with ambassadors who can raise the voices, because when I speak somewhere, it's not the same like if Marta does it from Brazil, or Bastian Schweinsteiger from Germany, or Eliel Kipchoge from Kenya. And so we try to bring those voices on board. And then we will start communicating on many different platforms within the sports world, but also, as I said, mentioned G20, G7, and we are working on those future pictures. We are doing future workshops, the next which are coming with partners in Kenya and with partners in Japan, to create those different views which I mentioned.
And my mic off. Thank you so much, I was saying. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was really interesting. So I want to thank you today. Before everyone goes, I'd like to ask people if they are okay with that, to turn their cameras on so we could take a group picture. Would that be okay?
Yeah, let me just, for the Portuguese resilience. Pessoal, a gente vai tirar uma foto, se vocês quiserem ligar a câmera pra gente, quem tiver interesse, quem não se importar, a gente vai só tirar um print aqui do final do evento.
Danilo, will you do it?
Yes, let's give...
So
okay.
big smile, 3, 2, 1. Oh, we lost Robin.
Okay.
Oh, can you not see me?
I see you.
Can you hear me?
I see.
Okay,
I
perfect.
see you now.
Okay, so it's done. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Obrigado.
And just before we go, so if anyone is interested in knowing more or being involved in AJTKD's work or Sports for Future or Sports 20 work, to get in touch. And Danilo, maybe you can, and Stefan, maybe write the address in the chat so that people know. Thanks so much for all the speakers. It was really interesting. Sorry, I know that there's someone has something in the queue. Sorry, my Q&A was saying. So thank you so much, everyone. We will let you go because we're already overrunning. I learned a lot today, and I'm very impressed with everyone's work. So thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you.